Morning guys, how you doing? Hope you're all well. Sorry for the lack of videos this week. It's just been a phenomenally busy week for me at work and elsewhere with some extracurricular activities. Those of you, well, all of you I imagine will know that we've, obviously had a really big football tournament happening here in Europe, and England have just really done well basically, and there's been a couple of England football games that I just really had to watch and didn't want to miss, and along with work and everything else, it's just been a really difficult week for me to get much else done. So that's why there's not been too many videos. I apologise, but there'll be plenty more coming. I've got a bit of time coming up now in the next few days. So today, one of the first things I'm going to be doing is we're going to nip off and pick up some goat feed and some growers pellets for some of our hens from the farming supply shop. And then when we get back, we'll be going up and having a look at the pigs. So stick with me, and we'll definitely be having some piglet time today. And I also wanted to talk to you about the whole experience of keeping pigs and, what that's kind of meant to me over the last few years. Now, just before I leave, I just wanted to show you one thing. It's something that we do here as a staple. Well, I say we, my wife does it. My wife does all of this, but we make our own flapjacks, like breakfast bars. Now, the breakfast bars, if you've got children of a certain age, then you're probably already aware they're like one of the main parts of their diet. So they quite often have them for breakfast, but they also have them for snacks, take them for lunches at school and stuff like that. And they can be really expensive if you get the nice ones. Well, we make our own, and when I say we, again, my wife, but we've made these flapjacks. Obviously we purchase the oats, and then it's just honey or maple syrup, and we've put in here some blackcurrants from our blackcurrant bush, which is in fruit. We might go and have a look at that a bit later. It's a little bit overrun with some bindweed, and that whole area needs a little bit of attention. With the weather looking like it's going to stay like this most of the day, I don't think I'll get to that today. You might also get a chance to go and see my bees. I have gone and dealt with my bees a couple of times, off camera, between now and the last time you saw them, for those of you wondering, what's going on with the bees. And basically all good stuff, but they are due an inspection, so I'm going to go up hopefully at some point today and have a look, and we'll just, like I say, we'll see how the day goes. So I've just picked up the goat feed and a bag of growers pellets for our hens, and I'm actually going to take a bit of a detour before I head back. There's someone I want to speak to about a possible home for our pigs. Yeah, all it is at the moment is an idea, but I'm going to hopefully fill in some of the blanks by going and paying a visit to someone, and then I'll catch you guys up on the idea and whether or not it will work. So yeah, quite excited. Okay, back home, and as you can see, not sure how long this little dry spell I'm having is going to last, but I've got a bit of a break in the weather. I'm going to take that opportunity to go and take care of the animals, do what I need to do, and fill you guys in. It's been another fantastic day, so we've had a real result. I've told the story a few times, but not recently, so new listeners and viewers probably won't know. But when we first moved in here, we had no background at all in raising animals, raising our own animals for food. I mean, we'd kept chickens and things like that, and my wife had actually worked on a field centre that children would come and stay at, and part of her remit was to sort of take care of a lot of different animals. But we've never had our own beyond, chickens and dogs and that kind of thing. I just need the cart. Got to work out where that is, because I've got to take some pig feed up to the pigs. While I'm looking for that, I'll explain. So yeah, this is all very, very new to us still. 3 years now we've lived here, and when we first moved in here, the rest of my family were very averse to raising our own meat. The idea of me slaughtering and butchering an animal like a pig and serving it on the kitchen table, it was never going to fly. It just, it was a non-starter. There was no point even trying to have that discussion. So what we did, and what I did, is I kind of plotted a path to break my family into that gently. What we're going to do while I'm telling you this story. We're going to feed the pigs and then we're going to have a look at the piglets again. So how I went about that was basically I approached someone who is fairly local, who did what I wanted to do. They raised all of their own meat. They raised goats for meat, pigs for meat, cattle for meat, all for their own consumption, a little bit extra to sell, but on a really small scale. And they also had chickens and ducks and all those usual things. And basically we came to a sort of arrangement where they brought an entire litter, and I think it was about 7 or 8 weaners, piglets, basically. Piglets that had been weaned. They brought them to live in our wood, and we did a deal. And the deal was that they would live in our wood. I would do all of the work, looking after them. But they would pay for all the feed, and they would be their pigs. They weren't our pigs. And in return, when they took them off to get butchered, we would get one pig's worth of meat. So that was the first sort of step we took. And it was a really good way of gradually breaking down those barriers towards eventually what we're doing now. Because of course it was to my children and what have you, it was really no different to purchasing meat at a supermarket. I know, I'm sorting you now, mate. Anyway, so that was our first step. And then from that, we took a series of other steps. So, you know, the next time what we did is we had 2 pigs here, and then we had them butchered and slaughtered professionally. And they were ours. And of course, that was a really tiny step for the rest of my family. The only difference was the ownership of the pigs while they were alive. And then finally, you know, the next step we took was me really, you know, taking over that last step in the process. So that's how we got here. The reason I'm telling you all that is because I have approached the lady who we did that first little deal with, because she's no longer keeping all those animals. All she's got now is some hens and a couple of cows. She's not doing the goats and she's not doing the pigs anymore because she was kind of looking after her homestead as her job. She found the whole process to be quite insular, and she was finding herself becoming more and more detached with the outside world. And she's a very gregarious person and, you know, enjoys spending time and socializing with other people. And she found that she was not able to do that very often. So she decided she wanted to get back into the working world. So she's taken on a full-time job, and as a part of that decision process for them was to not have all the animals. So anyway, it's a long way of saying that I went and spoke to her today about possibly us using a very small corner of their ground where they used to keep pigs to move our mum to, and we've got the green light. So that's a very long-winded way of saying that we've got a home for our pigs temporarily. Now, I'm just so happy. Everything, it feels like we're having a run of really fortunate, serendipitous things happening, because, you know, just we've gone from it being a real quandary what we're going to do with her to we now have a definite plan, and all we need to do now is, you know, flesh it out and fill in the blanks. So it's only temporary for several reasons. Not least of which being that I'm not sure that Sharon and Andy, who are the couple who we're having help us out now, is, you know, they're not necessarily conducive to it being a long-term thing. They have plans for that area, and they're trying to return a lot of their ground to wildflowers. So obviously that's not going to work out with a load of pigs in there. But that's just one part of the reason. You know, another part is I never wanted to keep pigs away from here. Obviously, it was an idea that was suggested by several of you and was one of the first things that comes to mind, you know, when we were told we can't keep them here any longer. But even if it was 1 mile away, it's actually about 3 or 4 miles away, but even if it was 1 mile away, or, you know, any distance that required a car journey, it was really too much for me to want to consider it. Because if you imagine, those of you who keep pets, even if it's, you know, house pets like cats and dogs, if you imagine you had to get in your car and travel once or twice a day to feed them, even if you had all the other benefits that you already have and, you know, all the other peripheral things that come into the thinking, if you had to make that journey just a couple of times a day, you might or might not choose to do it. But the point is, that's a significant additional commitment, and the last thing I need right now are additional significant commitments. So we've still got this guy here to basically process, which we'll be doing tomorrow if my back's up to it. We'll see how we get on. And what I've been doing in the meantime is I've actually been feeding him here and then going around and feeding mum so that there's no squabbling over food. And I think, you know, he knows he's not to go near the piglets. Mum has definitely made that really clear. She's such a good mum. The other thing I'm doing at the moment is I'm just being really, really generous with their feed. I'm making sure that they get enough so that there's some left over every day, because the last thing I want to do again is cause any disputes over a lack of food. And you know, mum is now going to need lots of energy, and I want to make sure that she gets it. I want to make sure that she's got everything she could possibly need. We're actually going to do something this week which we haven't done for quite some time. We're going to buy some commercial pig food just to make sure that she's getting all the things that she could possibly need. Now, she does get a really varied and balanced diet, and I'm confident that she's already getting those things. But out of an abundance of caution, we're just going to go that extra step and actually purchase some feed for her, just to make sure that there's nothing, you know, with regards to vitamins and minerals that she could possibly be lacking in her diet. This is the first time we've come up here and they've not been in their nest. Look. They're all out wandering around. Yeah, let's get you some food. Now, usually what I've been doing is feeding her just here. When I do that, I've been able to pick the pigs up and actually handle them, the piglets. But she's knocked over both of her water buckets, so I'm gonna refill that for her. I always say this when we have new arrivals, but it doesn't matter how hardened you become to it. Baby animals are incredibly cute. She wants to be back with her siblings. And there's still 10 really healthy looking animals. So I'm going to go and fill their water buckets, and then after that I should be making a trip to the bakery to collect some bread, and then after that it'll be milking time. Once milking's out of the way, that's when I start thinking about, you know, the day drawing to an end, because I need to start thinking about cooking tea and all those kinds of things. But there's still a bit of day left yet. We'll see how we get on. Quick reminder that tomorrow, obviously this is going out late Saturday, because I'm filming it as we speak right now on Saturday, but I'm aware I haven't put much out over the last couple of days, so this will be going out today. A little reminder, tomorrow's live stream will be 12 noon UK time, as always, every Sunday. To wrap this video up, I wanted to just share one other thing with you guys, and that is to say that we've had a real celebration of pigs and pork and the circle of life and everything this week. It's been absolutely immense. I've got a couple of very close friends and family, one of which you will know. That's Jason, my brother-in-law, who has appeared in a couple of my videos. Another one is a friend called Andrew and his family, and he was best man at my wedding, and I don't get to see as much of him as I would like. He's the opposite of me insofar as he's a real social butterfly. And hopefully he's watching this and that made him laugh. But yeah, he's got a immensely busy social calendar. Every single weekend he'll have weddings that he needs to go to, and different sporting events that he might be taking part in or going to see. And it's really, really difficult actually to pin down a Saturday or a Sunday that I can see him. So probably for the first time in well over a year, we'd managed to find a date and time. It was actually a Friday after work. And so this Friday, Jason and his family, and also Matt, who helped me with the first pig that we butchered here, and Andrew and his family came over for what I've been referring to as a festival of pork. And so in this week we had the piglets being born. As of today, we've kind of had some kind of conclusion begin to form with our pigs here and how that story is going to end. And it's a happy ending for all involved. And we've also had a pig that I harvested, and the culmination of my sort of learning about pig rearing and pork processing is all happened this week. And then on Friday we had a celebration of pork, and everyone came round, including their families, young children, and we cooked outside on a wood-fueled fire, and I cooked barbecue spare ribs, I cooked honey and mustard pork chops, pork loins. I also cooked a lot of pulled pork. We had pulled pork rolls, like if you go to a whole hog type, hog roast. We had that with stuffing in rolls. And I also cooked a pulled pork chili, a Mexican-styled pulled pork and bean dish, which, we had with fajitas and salad. And it was just immense. It was just an amazing experience. It went down really, really well. So, we had, children that were trying the spare ribs and things. It was just fantastic. A real, as I say, a celebration of pork. And it's just, for me, it's a lovely way to punctuate this story, this journey that I've been on over the last, 3 years of, everything to do with pork, and really get in touch with all aspects of that, piece of our diet. And from someone who really didn't know anything about it, beyond the fact that, pork comes from pigs, that was probably my limit of knowledge. And now I feel that I've really walked a path, and I've, practiced what I preach and gained some immensely valuable experiences, and hopefully, demystified some of it to some of you guys, and, certainly to my friends and family, but also to raise a few questions where they otherwise might not have been asked about where our food comes from. That's, I think, probably the thing I'm most proud of. So, what a journey. And I'm really appreciating it more now as it nears its end than any other time in it. Sometimes that's the case, isn't it? Sometimes when you're in something, it's difficult to appreciate all the things you're getting from it. But as this small journey within my bigger journey draws to an end, I'm really appreciating it. I'm appreciating what it's been, what it is, what I've learned, and what it meant to me, the whole thing. And the fact that it's also touched some other people as well, not just through this channel, but members of my household, and raised some amazing debates and questions and talks that we've all had, and not only here but in the wider world. It puts everything into perspective. And I have to try really, really hard to put myself in a place where I'm thinking about the loss and the fact that we're not going to have pigs here anymore. That's not top of mind for me. That's not where I go. I'm full of appreciation and, there are no other words, just appreciation for the opportunity that I've had here, the opportunity that the pigs have given me. I'm appreciative of each one of those animals and the joy that they've given me in the time that they were here, as well as the learning process. And ultimately the produce at the end of it is just been an overwhelmingly positive experience, one that I wish one day to repeat for sure, even if that's not right now. So I think that's going to do for wrapping this video up. Thanks ever so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to join me tomorrow at 12 noon UK time for the live stream, and also don't forget to do all of those good things. You know what they are. Press that like button, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and you know, leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you've been following along right since the beginning. Let me know what your experience has been of following me and the pigs, and it's just been fantastic. And I think I'll leave you with another look at the piglets.